Do more by doing less. With me, Charles Alexander, for small business owners, startups, and busy folks.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Clark, that's the gift that keeps on giving the whole year.
You want to clock out without checking out? Me too. That means I can keep making money, but I am doing other things that I enjoy doing. The first thing you have to do is figure out what you are worth per hour. I've covered this elsewhere, but I'm going to cover it again. If you have billable hours and that's how you work, great. You already know what you charge per hour. Tons of my clients are bare minimum $100 per hour. Most are $250, $500, $1,000. Great. If you haven't done that, and in my case, I do mostly packages to make it easy on people. You can just figure out what do I make per year, and then divide it by the number of hours you work. Most people I work with are six-figure individuals, a bare minimum $100,000. Let's just take that. Say you're $100,000 per year. And you divide that by your average number of hours. Hopefully, it's 2,000 hours or less. 2,000 being a 40-hour work week. I work with people to create 1,600-hour years, which is a 32-hour work week, a 4-day week. But if you divide 100,000 by the average, 2,000 hours, $50 an hour. Great. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but not everything you do is a billable hour. $50 every hour I'm on the quote unquote clock, I'm making money. Great. What should you do at that point? That's step 3. If anybody else can do a task for 20% of what your hourly rate is and still do it just 80% as good as you, that's something you should be doing 100% of the time. So that means in this case, could you outsource some of the tasks that you have? Could you delegate them for $10 an hour? If you're a $100 an hour person, great. We move up to 20 and 20. Look, folks, you do not have to go to the far reaches, all four corners of the universe, although I'm a big fan of it. You can find somebody right here in your neck of the woods, in your time zone, $20, $22, $25 an hour. That's brilliant. You can clock out without checking out. And this doesn't mean they have to be an employee. Oh, by the way, I've been an employee most of my life, still do tons of stuff on my own, but I have an employee look about me. And look, quick side rant here. I have been mistaken for an employee in restaurants, grocery stores, retail shops, bare minimum 6 times in my life. First, look, quick story. First one, I remember I was on my way home years ago. I worked 3 hours away from the house. I could only come home on the weekends. I lived in Nashville, worked in Memphis. We wore a tie for some terrible reason. I worked for Terminex. We were training people on how to use their new software. And I wanted to bring home flowers to my girlfriend, now wife, Sarah. Went into a Kroger. And it was like a dadgum ghost town. No one was in there. Looked to go get her flowers. Found some. I wanted to wrap them up. Nobody was there. I was pissed. I went behind the counter and I just started doing it myself. I cut off the ends. I found the green paper. I'm wrapping it up. Some kid comes in and says, hey man, is Joe here? And I'm just frustrated with me. Oh, he thinks I work here. Yeah, Joe's in produce. I just laughed to myself. Yeah, that'll teach him. I'm getting ready, get it all wrapped up, get the bow on there, finally get things, headed toward the cashier line. And then all of a sudden I see that kid with a guy with a green apron, a produce apron with the tag said, Joe. I was a qualified Kroger employee of one of only 2 people there, me and old Joe. And I've done this several other times. I quit wearing shirt and tie, but I love solid color polos. I don't know why. I guess because my wife lets me pick out my own clothes sometimes. I'll have like blue polos, red polos, which are a disaster. Went into Walmart one time wearing a blue polo and khakis. Terrible mistake. I got asked 3 questions, and the last time a dude said, where do I get my fishing license? And I just looked at him, said, I don't know. He just looked at me and he just smiled, thanks. And he just kept going because that was the kind of quality he expected from a customer service rep at Walmart. Quit wearing red polos. I've been mistaken in Target a couple of times for an employee, in Tractor Supply Company. One of the very last times, and the last time I ever been into a Ruby Tuesday, which I don't know why I was into a Ruby Tuesday to begin with. I had an old man on his way out. I was wearing, in this case, a white shirt and black pants. Again, made me look like a maitre d'. And he chewed me out before he left. I don't quite know what was wrong with a salad bar, but it had too many beets. This old man didn't like beets. I just smiled and nodded and said, I'll take it right to management. He said, thank you. Anyways, side note. Quit wearing solid polos and khakis and black pants, Charles. I've done that. Here's where you get into issues with your quote unquote lack of desire to delegate or to outsource that prevents you from clocking out without checking out. 6 things. First, and this is a common issue I hear all of the time. I've already done a mastermind to help people create a 4-day work week. And one of the first things that people say point blank is, I can't let go of control. And people will say that in some kind of manner where they want an award, a cookie. Oh, I like to control everything. I just want to make sure it's done just right. Well, if you want something done right, you got to do it yourself. No way. That formula I gave you about if somebody else can do it for 20% of what you make, I didn't say they had to do it as well as you did. Most of them will, but if they can do it 80% as well, life is good. That frees you up to do something else brilliant. I know you can't let go of control. That's probably one of the reasons you decided to start your own business to begin with, why you wanted to coach, why you wanted to advise. You want to have every aspect noticeable. You don't want to rely on coworkers or a bad boss if you've ever had one that won't do what they're supposed to do. You run into this in your own frustrating household where the kids won't listen and the spouse doesn't understand how to load the dishwasher. It's not that hard, people. Apparently it is. Look, you have to decide if you want to be happy or you want to be in control. I want to be happy. So I've got to learn certain aspects of things that I can let control loose. I often, try to get people to outsource doing their own email. That's a scary thing. Work your way up to it. What is something that you do data entry wise that you could probably outsource? Are you copying and pasting people's information into a spreadsheet or from a spreadsheet into a CRM? Stop doing that. That's one area you can let control go with. Number 2, you don't know what to let someone else do. And I get this all the time. Most of the clients that I've had over the years will only hire someone after they are completely burned out and frustrated. See it quite a bit in the food service, any kind of household repair, whatever it is. We bring someone on after we are running around like a chicken with our head cut off, and then we ask them to follow us around, and then they start running around like a chicken with their head cut off, and we don't know why. Make a list of all the things that you do on a recurring basis, not the things you do one-off, the recurring items that you are doing. And if you have to, track what you're doing for a week, folks. I know it's scary and painful, but write it down, type it out, use Toggle, use Clockify. I don't care. Make a list of all the things that you're doing regularly that someone else could do because you're tired of doing, you're frustrated with doing. What's holding you back? What's keeping you from doing the things that you're meant to be doing? Make a list and then pick out not the hardest, not the biggest bang for your buck, but the easiest things that you can let control go. Pick those out. I'm combining 1 and 2 for you there. Then there's number 3, the big issue. Well, just can't find good help these days. I've been coaching for almost 2 decades. That has been the pain point from day one. Well, nobody wants to work anymore. Well, I just tell you, and maybe it's a Southern thing, but I've got a lot of clients on the West Coast and Northeast. They say the same thing. It's what work ethic is different now than it used to be. Quite frankly, though, I think it's probably healthier than it's ever been. You can blame the pandemic, millennials, or aliens. I don't care. The idea that we need to work 70 hours a week to validate our existence is nonsense. I talked to a sales guy the other day that was talking about creating a 4-day work week, and then he said that he works 12-hour days and that he has other salespeople that work for him that only work 8 and they're not as dedicated. Okay. You can find good help. The unemployment rate, at least as of this recording, is at an all-time low. People are working. There are good people out there. Maybe you have to actually look a little bit before you hire the first warm body. If you figured out what you can let control go over, if you have figured out all the tasks that someone else can do, you can write a mini job description. And if it's virtual assistant related whatsoever, you can go to sites like Upwork and you can test people. I say test them. I don't mean you're putting them through the gauntlet or the Hunger Games, but you can throw out a project. Let 3 or 4 or 5 people do it at $10-15 per person and then find the best one. Work with them and move on. Get referrals. Find their portfolio. If you're working with somebody locally, don't just hire the person that got referred to you by somebody that knows somebody. Interview people. There are good people out there. And then the next complaint I often get is that, well, I just don't have time to train someone else. It takes time to properly train. I completely agree. But if you're taking a look at the task that you're going to let go of that someone else can do, and let's just say it's 2 or 3 hours a week. It's not going to take you 2 or 3 hours a week every week to train someone. In fact, it might only take you 2 or 3 hours total if you do a good job. I've got other podcasts on how to create the perfect SOP and how to turn somebody loose. Take the time to train them, realizing that the benefit is on the other side of the number of hours you are now going to gain. If I'm paying somebody $10, $20, and I'm making $50 or $100, or maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm already at my revenue threshold and I'm enjoying that time. Either way, then the complaint is, well, I don't have time to manage someone else. If you have time to do the task yourself, you have time to manage someone else. Well, it only takes me 5-10 minutes. If it only takes you 5 or 10 minutes, but you're doing it 2 times a day, every day, 20 minutes a day, 100 minutes a week, that's almost 2 hours. It's not going to take you 2 hours to manage somebody else. Maybe in the first couple of weeks it will, but past that, it will not. And if it does, then you've either not trained them correctly or you found the wrong person. Long term, it does not take the same amount of time to manage someone as it does to do it yourself. And then going back to the complaint I get all the time, well, I just don't know how much I should pay somebody. I just gave you the formula. And that doesn't mean that that's exactly what that person is worth, but you're an adult. Take a look. Ask around what it costs for somebody to edit video reels. Ask what it costs for someone else to help you do your QuickBooks. Ask what it costs for someone else to do the task you're actually doing. I'm wrapping up. I've already got masterminds going. One of them I had Cynthia, we'll call her, hired somebody, and she let go control of the thing that was the scariest to her, which was checking email on a regular basis. And it's not that someone else was posing as her. They would go in, and if they understood the question from the client, they would reply as that person's virtual assistant. This did not create issues with the client. They would tell them, hey, look, Cynthia's busy right now. I know the answer to this. Here you go. People are very appreciative. They get that. And as she could see which tasks people, customer service wise, what customers needed. They needed help logging in. They needed an answer for a project they were doing. She could assign it to the right person on the team. She could leave it marked unread. She could create a priority list and hand it off to Cynthia. Life was great. Jeremy hired somebody else to call insurance clients who are renewing as an agent. And they pride themselves on high insurance renewal rates, as they should. That's easy money. Don't worry about getting a new client when you got an existing one that's doing the job. And this was something he had done for years. Well, it's just a personal sense of pride. Well, it gives me a chance to talk to the clients. Great. But that also means that you could be doing something else each and every time. So he found somebody else that could see when a customer's getting ready to renew. They would do outreach. Maybe it wasn't always a phone call, but a lot of times it was an email or a phone call or a Zoom call. Freed up a ton of time. The clients always appreciated it, and they never had an issue that it wasn't him. And then Shannon hired somebody to handle a lot of just basic customer inquiries, the basic things that we take for granted that I'll just shoot an email back to them real quick. In every case, they figured out how to let go of control, or who else could do it, or they found a way to clock out without checking out. And for me personally, I started out editing this podcast. And then once I got a process going, found the software that I liked, I managed to create a one-page SOP, created a video of how to do it. I already had a VA lined up that was awesome. Handed it off to her, ran into a few bumps in the road with the first ones. Not a big deal. Now this saves me hours and hours and hours. All I do is hop on here, record. She takes care of the rest. As for my being mistaken for an employee, I'm very careful not to mix and match incorrect shirts and pants. I also don't have that dazed employee look anymore, and I try to wear more patterns. You want to clock out without checking out, figure out how much your hourly rate is, find somebody else that can do some of the work, and let go of control. Don't take off just yet. I've created a new program just for you, helping overworked entrepreneurs create their very own 4-day work week in 90 days or less. Look, if you'd rather spend more time with family, friends, traveling, exercising, having the time to do what you want instead of, putting out never-ending fires, tackling another to-do list, and checking email at 9 p.m., then go to my website, yourcharlesalexander.com. If you've created the income you want but don't have the time freedom you deserve, then this is for you. And as always, if you don't, an angel may actually lose its wings. True story. Have a great day.